Internet and all the gangsters out there, this is Rex and Arthur Clifford, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before we watch this video, please go buy my Ultimate Review package. It really helps me sustain this channel, and please don't share or release my resources out in the internet. I make a living out of these stuff. Where my Ultimate Review package covers all macroeconomics concepts with depth and detail, and I have a lot of questions in my ultimate review package that you can do to have a better understanding of the overall concepts, and then you can also test your understanding by trying out the MC questions that I posted or the unit exam PDF that can help you study for your unit exam as well. Also note that if you want to learn this concept more in depth for your unit exam, not for the AP micro, then please check my YouTube video that I posted about unemployment. It goes more in depth and is more suitable for your unit exam studies. Okay, let's now dig into unemployment, one of the most important concepts of macroeconomics. Okay gang, let's start with the term unemployment. This is when people are not working, but they're actively looking for jobs. For example, Arthur, who did not work at all last week, though he tried to find a job, would be considered unemployed, since he's technically not engaging in any workforces right now. The unemployment rate formula that you gotta know for the AP macro exam is unemployed workers divided by the total labor force times it by 100%. The total labor force includes people in a population who are either employed or unemployed. To be in the labor force, you have to be above 16 years old, able and willing to work, not institutionalized, so not in jail nor hospital, not in military, in school full-time, or retired. We'll talk more about this concept in depth later on, so you don't have to worry right now.
The labor force participation rate is simply the labor force divided by the working age population. It is good to know this because it shows up on the AP Macro exam, especially on the MCQs.
Okay, next let's look at the three types of unemployment. The first one is frictional unemployment, and this is when workers are searching for a new employment or transitioning from their old jobs to new ones. They have skills that people want them to hire, but they just can't find a job yet. Examples could be high schoolers or college grads looking for jobs, or individuals that were fired and are looking for a better job. Seasonal unemployment is a specific type of frictional unemployment, which is due to the time of the year and the nature of the job, where people temporarily loses their job because the employer requires fewer employees during a particular season. So a great example could be a ski instructor or a lifeguard. Structural unemployment is the next unemployment that you have to know, is when people who do not have the right skills are not hired by people. This is mainly due to the structure of the labor market change, where people like VCT repairmen who now doesn't have a job because nobody has a VCR, and the skills are very unnecessary. So structural unemployment is going to exist throughout any economy. I also want to go over technological unemployment, which is simply a type of structural unemployment where machineries replace workers, causing unemployment. The last one is cyclical unemployment. This is the idea where recession and the economy's stable that the economy is doing poorly, so people are buying fewer goods and services. This ultimately leads to workers losing their jobs and cyclical. Easy way to remember this concept is because the economy is sick, so it's cyclical unemployment. And that's important to remember because sometimes the economy is sick and doing horrible, or sometimes it's not and it's not doing great, and it's doing great. But either way, you're going to have the first two types of unemployment, structural and frictional. And this is a huge concept. We were talking about unemployment and limiting unemployment. We're not trying to get down to zero because two of them will always exist. So this stuff you have to know for the macro exam. You would have to also define all these and name some examples. In fact, a lot of teachers ask questions where they give you a scenario of different people and say which one is frictional unemployed or structurally unemployed. You gotta know the differences. So going back, we're not trying to get down to zero because two of them will always exist. So the whole idea of the natural rate of unemployment comes in play, where unemployment that exists when we're at full employment is when there's no cyclical unemployment. Now, what that actual number is depends on the country, but for Canada, it's basically between 4 to 6% unemployment. That's considered full employment, by the way. So if you have like 8% unemployment, then definitely we have some cyclical unemployment and we have some recessionary gap or recession. But in the other hand, in other countries, the natural rate of unemployment can be higher because you have more frictional and structural employment permanently in other countries that have higher unemployment benefits to their citizens. So it really depends on the policy. And basically, people are between jobs longer because they can get some money from the government. But that's not the big takeaway for this topic. And the big takeaway here is to remember that when you're talking about full employment, you're not talking about the 0% unemployment because it's just physically impossible to achieve that number, where we're talking about the amount of unemployment that exists at full employment. When there's both frictional and structural employment, there's no cyclical employment right now. Now, let's talk about some criticism of the unemployment rate. And it's hard to say, but the government can actually misdiagnose the actual unemployment rate. Yeah, you heard it right. The government was lying to us. So coming back, discouraged workers is one of the reasons for this problem, where some people are not longer looking for a job because they have simply given up. Another factor includes underemployed workers, where a person does not work full-time or takes a job that does not reflect their actual training and financial need. Race, age, inequality is when the overall unemployment rate doesn't show disparity for minorities and teenagers. These factors are all included in the unemployment rate, so the actual rate would tend to be measured higher. To summarize this whole stuff, just note that unemployment is just like a obese woman. It's just a fact of life. It's ugly and it's always there. Sometimes people are gonna get a can. So having a dumpster looking like woman around frictional, structural unemployment is totally normal. It's natural, but a dumpster fire in this hot bikini, Mr. Chan, that's something different. And that's what we have here, cyclical unemployment. But don't go anywhere, we're not done yet. There's still two things you have to do. Number one, if you like this video, and if I'm helping you learn and love economics, please subscribe, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell so you can see all the new videos I'm making for you gangsters. The second thing we have to do is it's time for a pop quiz. Okay, so I'll post up the questions here and then I'll show the answers after a few seconds.